I see a lot of content creators saying what they really want to say because, well, we're not afraid about getting banned or demonetized anymore on the account. They're going to ban this entire app. So I'm going to say what it is I want to say while I still have the ability to say it. TikTok was never a security risk to the American people. TikTok is a security risk to the American government. Because if TikTok genuinely had a security risk, they would be banning all these other apps like Temu and Shein that are run in other countries. Or they would be banning American corporations from outsourcing employment to people in other countries. They can take our money as their customers and provide us a service in America, but they can't employ American citizens. No, they employ people in other countries and give them money that Americans need so they can avoid paying Americans a livable wage amongst the worst economic inflation America has ever seen. So not only are they putting us in a bigger financial crisis, which is exactly where the American government wants us to be, but they're giving hundreds and thousands of people all over the world access to way more pertinent information than anything you could collect off of TikTok. I mean, let's be for real here. You've got companies like Comcast, T-Mobile, my insurance company, whether it's my homeowners or my car insurance, and Uber, and all of them have call centers in different countries. They have access to my readily available biographical information. They have access to my financial data. These insurance companies and Uber apps literally give you chips to install in your car so they can track your driving habits. They could literally make a map of our entire country. And you don't think that that's more of a security risk than me dancing on TikTok, right? Let's call a duck here. This is absolutely about freedom of speech and nothing else, because every single social media app that Americans have access to outside of TikTok is under the same corporate umbrella with the exact same community standards, and that's just America now. They have taken away all of our freedoms by installing corporations in place of our constitutional right, or these corporations are finding ways to capitalize on our constitutional rights. You don't believe me? Let's dive in. They infringe upon our constitutional right to freedom of press by giving us only two polarized options in way of media. Where do we get our news from? Fox or CNN. Every time you see a liberal arguing with a conservative or vice versa, it's you watch CNN, you watch Fox News. These are the only two news channels that we have, and they're both under the same corporate umbrella. Why would one corporation want to polarize the news? Make them both extremely biased, confrontational, and regularly misinforming Americans? Why would one corporation want to keep us divided? The whole reason we have a housing crisis in America and living is no longer affordable is because the American government has allowed hedge funds to come in and monopolize on single-family homes in America. Once again, a private corporation owning majority of our single-family homes. Our food production, manufacturing, farming, etc., anything that's happening on a large scale in America is being monopolized by three different companies, two of which are under the same corporate umbrella and completely void of any regulations that the FDA should be implementing on them. The FDA, Food and Drug Administration in America, should be sanctioned by the government, but instead they're being bought out by these two major corporations that have monopolized on our food production and manufacturing. Our healthcare is owned by Big Pharma, which once again is in bed with the FDA and government officials as well. And they're just having a big old circle jerk about how they can take us from being patients who need treatment to customers who are repeated. Our public education system is funded by our tax dollars, which is allocated to the public education systems by the government, which prefers stupid Americans. Case in point, we are the only country using standardized testing and multiple choice questions to grade our children. If we are being realistic, American education does nothing but indoctrinate our children to the corporate work schedule. On an education level, we are behind every developed country in the world. That is why the man running our economy refuses to employ Americans, because of our subpar education system. And last but absolutely most importantly, the entire point of this post is how they are infringing upon our constitutional right to freedom of speech. The most accessible form to free speech that we have is social media. And they are funneling us to social media apps owned by the metaverse, social media apps of their choosing, like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter or X, YouTube. All of these are under, once again, the same corporate umbrella, and they have the community standards of the government's choosing. That's why they're regularly bringing all of these people in to reprimand them on how they should be handling their community standards. Like, nobody finds it odd that the man who's running our country has hired somebody to run our economy who owns one of these social media platforms. And Elon Musk has said he intends on putting people on probation on Twitter if they're not showing support to Donald Trump or they're vocalizing their points of contention against him. Where President Donald Trump has said anybody in government who outwardly opposes him will be replaced by a Trump loyalist. If that is not infringement upon our constitutional right to freedom of speech, well, I don't know what is. And somehow I'm supposed to believe that the one app that doesn't block, ban, demonetize, or mute me for talking about any of the aforementioned is more of a security risk than corporate American companies outsourcing all of our readily available biographical information, financial information, and geographic whereabouts to another country so they can capitalize on their record-breaking profits while Americans still don't make a livable wage? Let's be realistic here. The real security risk to America is the risk that the American people pose to the American government. The risk is Americans uniting. The real risk is Americans having access to non-biased information from different parts of the world. The real risk to American security is speaking freely on the injustices that the American government has committed against the American citizens by allowing American corporations and greed to dictate the every fiber of our American existence. I am sick of corporate America. I am sick of corporate America running our government, having our politicians in its pocket, running our healthcare system, our food manufacturing. I'm sick of it running our housing market. I'm sick of billionaires running to be politicians or figuring our fucking economy, our educational system. And I am damn sick of it infringing upon my constitutional right to freedom of press and speech. I'm just fucking sick of it. America is not a corporation. We are a fucking country.